Alex Dibble, Deputy Head of News here at talkTV, is with us in the studio. We're getting more reaction as well coming through, Alex.
Yeah, that's right. So the Education Secretary, Jillian Keegan, in the last few moments has tweeted. She says, "I'm deeply concerned by reports of an incident at a primary school in Wimbledon this morning." She says, "My thoughts are with families, staff and the community involved, and I'm hugely grateful for the fast action of the emergency services who are currently at the scene." We've also had a tweet from the Education Minister, Claire Coutinho, horrified, she says, to hear about the incident at a primary school in Wimbledon. Her thoughts too with the children and families involved, and grateful for the emergency services responding at the scene. The Metropolitan Police say they are continuing to investigate the full circumstances around this incident, how it took place. There are many unanswered questions at this stage. As we've said already, it is believed that the driver of the vehicle suffered a medical incident behind the wheel, and then that was what precipitated the crashing into the school building. It is believed that she may have been leaving the Royal Wimbledon golf course as she suffered that medical incident. The Royal Wimbledon golf course just over the road from the Study Prep school. So at this stage, it looks like the journey that she was on would have been incredibly short, and she has suffered this at an incredibly inopportune moment that happened to lead her car towards the prep school. This isn't confirmed, but that's our understanding at this stage.
And it looks as if that this wasn't and it's hard to ascertain this fully, but looking at the images of the car and its proximity to the school, it doesn't look look as if this was an incident that happened at speed. I mean, it doesn't have to be going fast in order to cause an awful lot of damage, but if you look at the car there, we're not seeing an awful lot of collateral damage to the building itself, or even the car for that matter. But if people were playing in that area that we can see now, which is sort of almost like a part of a schoolyard, is the best way to describe it. If anybody was out there at the time, which the suggestion is that that's exactly what the situation was, they were playing outside, then you can see how people were injured. But it doesn't look as if this was a high-speed incident.
No, and that would seem to corroborate what we understand about the very short journey from the golf course to the school across the road, that the car maybe didn't even have time to build up that much speed before this medical incident occurred. The grass area next to the school building is fenced off by what we believe to be a wooden fence. So again, it's not as though the car has ploughed through a wall on this occasion. A wooden fence it looks to have gone through before entering that area where children and staff were having an end-of-year picnic. So yes, I agree with you. At this stage, it doesn't look like it was a high-speed collision, but nevertheless, what we know, what we believe at this stage, is up to 17 people may have been injured, and potentially, according to reports, one person may have lost their life.
I mean, if a car is doing 10 miles an hour and there are kids playing out in the schoolyard and it ploughs through it, it's not difficult to see that could cause some real injuries and substantial damage, and that appears to be the case. We do await confirmation, though, on the number that have been injured, and reports that one person might have died, although that's not fully confirmed, Alex.
No, that's not. And you heard Stuart, our reporter on location, say that even in the last few minutes or so, he believes another victim may have been taken away in an ambulance from the common. So emergency services continuing to respond to the victims, making sure they get the best treatment, and doing everything they can if they are in a critical condition to save their lives.
Yeah. We've had response. You mentioned the Education Secretary. The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, has also given a response to this.
Yeah, the Home Secretary tweeting in the last sort of half an hour or so. She says, "I'm saddened to hear about this tragic incident at the school in Wimbledon. Her thoughts," she says, "are with everyone affected." And again, she goes on to thank the emergency responders and makes clear that it is important they are able to carry out their investigation. With something like this in a local area, as Stuart was saying, people come, they want to know what's going on for curiosity, but also they may know people who work at the school. Inevitably, it's the kind of thing that means that many people arrive on a cordon like this. But it's important the emergency services are not impeded if they need to get in or indeed out, potentially out being just as important if they are taking someone to hospital.
And this is, I mean, you can't really overstate it. It's an incredibly busy part of London, of southwest London, Wimbledon. That area is busy. It's Wimbledon Common, which is sort of a world-famous piece of land, if you like, in that area. And perhaps more poignantly, the world's biggest tennis tournament is taking place literally down the road from this.
Yes, and when we first got reports this morning and first had the confirmation that the emergency services were responding to this, many people's first thought was, could it be in some way connected to the Wimbledon Tennis Championships at the All England Club, which is just a mile down the road? We now know that that is almost certainly not the case, that this was a completely isolated incident. So we believe the tennis tournament is taking place without interruption. But indeed, that was people's first thought, given the geographical location. Fire engines also at the scene, ambulances, as well as the air ambulances and police. So a coordinated emergency service response.